But I think I would prefer the electrical burner. I think it's more it's less effective.
Yeah, there's also another method that most farmers are not aware. Okay, that is a bit less traumatic. Okay, because now as veterinarians, we are now moving into the scope of animal welfare, into a world where now the animal well-being matters. And therefore now, as we perform these activities, we don't want to expose our animals to a lot of trauma. So there's a method known as dehorning paste. A dehorning paste that you can buy in an agrovet. So like a chemical. Yeah, it's a chemical. It contains, I think, around calcium oxide. Okay, so you're going to apply at the base of the horn back. Because at this time, maybe around 1 month, these holes will not have protruded. And therefore, once you apply this paste, it is going to kill some of these cells, the horn-producing cells. And therefore, you'll find that now in the future, the calf will not be in a position to grow this on there. But as you have seen, there are other methods like that is budding, whereby you use a hot metal or even an electrical one to destroy those horn buds and the horn-producing cells. Then the other method that we usually do when the hoofs are overgrown, whereby now we use the giggle wire to cut the horns. But that's more dangerous, and therefore, as a person who is in the dairy sector, I would prefer the RG one and using the pasting method because it will be less traumatic. The animal will not be stressed, and therefore the rate of growth will be okay.
And I also prefer the younger the better.
Yeah, the younger the better. So now, after we have weaned our cow, we have weaned now our calf, we are going to give it a new name. Now we are going to call it a heifer, because now we want to prepare it to grow well, so that it can be served, then so that it can become pregnant, and now later transition to that cow that we want to be a high-producing cow.
Yes.
So after, it is the process of raising a heifer is very important, and also the process of raising a calf is very critical towards the outcome of the rate of milk production, and therefore we need to be a little bit cautious about how we are going to bring up these hairs. And so now after 3 months, now you have maybe fully weaned your calf now to a heifer. So now you want to feed your heifer with ad libitum or fodder that is opimia.
Yes.
So now you want to, and now we are going to transition from feeding 10% of that milk to feeding our heifer with 3% dry matter of its weight. So now, maybe we usually prefer the weaning of, as the calf is being weaned, it should be around double its birth weight. So now we have around 80 kg heifer. So that is where we are packing. So the recommended rate of feeding is 3% dry matter of the 80 kgs of the 80 kgs. But remember, the dry matter is something like hay. Yeah, the hay, it is not in every case that you're going to have your hay. So you can have just the green fodder, the napier grass. So you have to know West brand. Yeah, you have to know the percentage of dry matter in that grass, so that you don't feed your heifer on 3% of this weight forage. Okay, you will not have achieved the requirement of the 3% of dry matter. So you have to limit the water content.
Okay.
Yeah.
So dry matter, this meaning these are feeds without water.
Yeah, these are feeds or without water.
Dry feeds.
Yeah, dry feeds. Dry feeds like hay.
Yeah.
So if we are talking about hay, that is when you are going to do the 3%. But now, if you are feeding on this green fodder, you have to know the percentage of water in your glass fodder, depending on the type that you are using. But make sure that your heifer receive the adequate amount. Then of course you are going to do the supplementation. Then you are going to provide these mineral blocks so that you ensure that the calf is gaining everything. So that is how you're going to bring up your heifers. So when do we serve these heifers? A heifer should be fed when it is around 300 to 350 kgs. 300 weight. 300 to 350 kgs weight, and at a recommended age of around 15 months. That's for 1 year and almost a half. Okay, yeah, almost 1.5 years.
Is ready to be served.
Yeah, she should be ready to be served. That is, in case you brought up your calf and heifer just as you have described. That is the only way you are going to achieve the 300 and 350 kgs at around 15 months. But farmers need to know that age is never a consideration of serving an animal, but rather the weight is what is considered when we are serving an animal.
The weight is the most considerable.
Yeah, the weight is the most considerable, and therefore you have to make sure that your heifer is around 300 to 350 kgs.
Okay.
Yeah, so the reason why you are serving this heifer at around 15 months is because you want the first calf at around 24 months. That is exactly 2 years. So that we don't interfere with the length of the production period of the cow. Because a good cow should give you around 8 calves before you calve the animal.
What do you mean by calving?
Okay, calving is when now you want to sell this animal for meat.
Okay.
Or for meat product.
Yes.
Yeah. So it is important that you don't you feed your animal well, so that you don't push your date of serving from 15 months to around 19 or 20 months, because as you push, you're going to be losing the number of calves that you're supposed to get before you dispose of this animal.
Okay.
And therefore you're also going to reduce the amount of milk production that you would have gotten as a farmer if you would have served this animal for around 8 times. Yeah.
So mostly before you dispose it off, it probably gives you like how many times? Like 7 to 8 times.
Yeah, around 7 to 8 times. We have around 7 to 8 calves.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So now we have a heifer that has now been served at 15 months.
Yes.
And it is now be pregnant for around 9 months, so that you are going to get now the first calf at around 24 months.
Okay. So where you are pregnant, is there a feeding that someone should follow, a feeding schedule?
Yeah. During pregnancy, remember that this animal is carrying a life, and therefore it needs high levels of energy, especially for the first 7 months. So you are going to increase the level of concentrates to around maybe 2.5 kg to 3 kg. Then you are going to feed this heifer with the unlimited level of forage, so that it gets enough energy for the first 7 months.
7 months.
For those cows, maybe for those cows that have already given birth, and now they are giving birth for the second time, of course you want to feed the cow well for the first 7 months. Then you are going to dry your cow off. So you dry off, that is, you stop milking the cow. Yeah. So a cow that was already in production, once it is pregnant for 7 months, you now want to stop. You now have stopped milking it by around the 7 months, so that you give time for this the under tissue to develop. So for these tissues to repair and develop, so that you're going to increase your rate of milk production.
Okay.
But now for our heifer that is giving birth for the first time, of course you are not going to dry it for anything. It's not producing milk. But again, you also want to avoid high levels of calcium during the last 2 months. you also want to reduce the level of concentrates so that you don't overfatten the cow, because it is going to lead to other diseases in the future.
Yes, true.
So you want to give some salts that do not exceed 100 to 125 grams of calcium per day. The reason being, once you feed your calf on high levels, once you feed your heifer or cow on high levels of calcium during the last 2 months of gestation, that cow will in high chances develop a disease that we call milk fever. When a cow gives birth and it is unable to wake up, so that is the disease that we usually call milk fever.
Milk fever.
Yeah, I've never heard of that. The common disease that they actually disturb most of the farmers, and it is because once they give these pregnant cows high levels of calcium during the last 2 months, the system that is responsible for mobilizing calcium from the bones is usually compromised, and therefore, once the cow gives birth, it is going to produce colostrum and therefore lose high levels of calcium. And now, this calcium that you're going to be feeding the cow orally will not be enough to sustain the demand for calcium. And the cow is supposed to mobilize a lot of calcium actually from the bones. But because now this system was asleep, or rather the system was not used to mobilizing calcium from the bone because you are giving the cow high levels of calcium, you find that now the cow will go down with milk fever because of low levels of calcium. So these are some of the major mistakes that farmers make when they are feeding these pregnant animals.
Yes.
So once you overfatten your cow during the last 2 months, you're also likely to develop diseases like the fatty liver syndrome and other diseases that affect those high producing cows like ketosis and all that. That will be a subject maybe another day. Yeah, so I think that is the caution that we usually take when we are feeding our animals.
Yes.
But then there's something that farmers call steaming up. That is increasing the level of feeding and the concentrate during the last around 3 to 4 weeks, so that you are going to improve the rate of milk production while the cow is bad. Okay. So now we have a cow that now has given birth well, and it is now producing milk.
Yes.
Yeah. So now we just have to increase the level of concentrate. So we usually recommend 1 kg for every 2.5 liters of milk. So 1 kg of concentrate for every 2.5 liters of milk, plus maybe an additional 1 kg for the maintenance of the cow.
Okay.
So then you have to provide enough fodder. Then you have also to provide the mineral blocks and maybe some salts that are high in calcium and phosphorus, which helps in now the production of milk. So now after birth, you're now going to increase the level of calcium and phosphorus that you're going down to feed your cow. And now your cow will give you milk for around 3 or 5 days. That is what we call the lactation period. And you can ask maybe yourself why 3 or 5. It is because in a year we have 365 days. So you want to just milk for 3 or 5 days, then you dry your cow for the last 60 days of the year. That is the dry period, the 60 days. That is what is accounting for a lactation period of around 3 or 5 days.
Wow.
So yeah, that is it from my side.
Wow. So okay, but wow, this surely there's a lot.
Really production.
Yeah. And this is there like specific specific amount normally normal for a cow to bring the milk? How many liters? Specifically, like with the normal feeding.
Okay, milk production is affected by 2 things. One is the genetics of your animal.
Yes,
because now if you have the zebu, the traditional zebu, then or the traditional breed, you cannot compare with the breed like Friesian. So one of the considerations for milk production is the genetics. So, for example, most fresh cells you produce around, in Kenya, 20 to 30 liters. Very few farmers are able to achieve 40 kgs, because that one will require high levels of management.
Exactly.
But now the other cows, the traditional breeds really don't produce high levels of milk. So one of the factors is genetics. The other factor is the environment. That is, how have you kept your animals? How are you feeding your animals? That is what environment does. And I think environment also plays a major role. That is the management. Plays a major role on the rate of milk production, because you will find some farmers with very good fresh milk, but then they are milking 1 liter or 3 liters per day. So you see, the environment, the environment is not conducive, and it is contributing to a loss of around 27 liters. So you can imagine, that's a lot. So now I'm just going to talk about the major diseases that affect farmers in the dairy sector,
And control.
maybe in control.
Yeah.
One of the diseases that really affect dairy cattle is mastitis.
Mastitis.
Yeah, mastitis. I know once I mentioned mastitis, most of the farmers can relate about what I'm saying.
Yes.
Mastitis is actually a disease that it is just an inflammation of the udder.
Okay.
So it's just an inflammation of the udder, and therefore you're going to find some signs like reduced level of milk production. So there's a lot of pain in the udder. The udder is swollen, it is red. The animal reacts very fast once you touch the udder in some of these acute cases of mastitis. So, and most of the causes of mastitis is due to poor environmental hygiene.
Okay.
So you find that maybe the animal is residing in an area that has a lot of slurry. And in that slurry, there's a lot of bacteria. So once the farmer finishes the milk, or even once the animal sits down, the bacteria is going to enter through the teat canal. Then it is going to colonize the udder and lead to mastitis. And therefore, one of the control measures for mastitis should actually be proper hygiene.
Okay.
Then, farmers should also take a lot of caution when they are purchasing animals, because there are some animals that have got chronic cases of mastitis. And chronic means a long-term disease that is actually difficult to eliminate.
Okay.
And you find that when most of these farmers will be selling their animals, that is carrying the animals, they are going to cull or sell to you these animals that have these chronic cases of mastitis, whereby the farmer has tried to treat the animals, but they have not responded to any kind of treatment. So
that's very tough.
Yeah, it is important that even as farmers purchase these cows, they need to consult veterinarians,
Yes.
so that they can be able to screen for this kind of mastitis. So because there are some mastitis that you can see the clinical signs, and some that we call subclinical mastitis that you can actually not see with your eyes or your clinical signs from the animal, but that animal is chronically affected in this mastitis. And I think mastitis is one of the economic issues, or one of the most economical diseases affecting farmers because of the treatment. You need to consult a veterinarian every now and then, and also the reduced level of milk production.
The faster you react, the more effective to control the disease actually.
Yeah. The earlier you do the treatment of the mastitis, and that is why a veterinarian can actually help you to screen for mastitis, where he's just going to take a sample of milk from the udder and take it to the veterinary investigation laboratory.
Okay.
Then they are going to screen for subclinical mastitis. Also, you can do it at home. You can do the screening of mastitis at home
By yourself.
by a method that we call the California mastitis test.
Yeah.
California mastitis test, you just go to an agrovet.
Okay.
Then you purchase a CMT, that is the plate, that is the California mastitis plate. It has got 4 wells. So then you are going to get a California mastitis reagent, whereby now once you come home, you just milk just a little, just some few mLs of milk into those 4 wells, So of course, it is one well for one adder. So then you are going to add an equal amount of that CMT reagent, that is the mastitis reagent. Then once you do you swirl, that is you mix. Once you mix, if you see that the milk and the reagent is producing some kind of gel, it means that cow has a subclinical mastitis, and therefore it needs to be treated. And if you are buying, then you need to take a lot of caution. So some of this cleaning of mastitis can actually be already done at the disposal of the farmer.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm seeing even nowadays, talking about, I wanted to ask you about technology. Particularly, are there machines coming up in the vet world?
Yeah, actually,
That will help farmers?
the vet world is actually going digital.
Because sorry, I saw a kit, a pregnant test kit.
Yeah.
For the cows.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Actually, there's a lot of development that are going on in the dairy industry.
Okay.
You even know about the milking machine.
Yes.
Yeah. Then, of course, there are those tests that you're talking about, the pregnancy test.
Oh yes.
Yeah. We also use diagnostic techniques like X-ray.
Oh, okay.
Radiography, these things, ultrasound. Therefore, there is actually a lot. There's also an AI gun that is actually automatic.
Wow.
You can see as you're doing your AI, and there are a lot of developments in the vet industry.
Wow. Technology is everywhere.
Yeah, technology is everywhere.
Though we are thankful for your time with us. It's really been a great day.
Yeah.
As though I hope we shall meet again.
Yeah.
Maybe the part 2 of this one.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Tumeshukuru sana.
Asante.
Kabisa.